Hi, my name is Payson Johnston. I'm the CEO of Crowdz. I wanted to talk to you today about what Crowdz is doing to really help Main Street thrive. And we call it the Reclaim the Future project. Really, if you look at what's happening in the economy today, small, medium businesses generate a huge amount of economic activity, between 44 to 47%, depending on the country, US or UK. Either the revenue, and then when you look at percentage of jobs, it's even higher. And yet right now, what is happening is the global economy is shrinking, as we know from some of the big economic issues. There's equivalent of 400 million jobs have been lost, and they still haven't been recovered. And SMEs, on average, when you look at the UK, have about $11,000, maybe $12,000 left in their accounts. Plus, there's about an additional 7.5 million small businesses are at risk of closing, especially as different economic closures happen because of COVID and other issues. What we see is the time is really now for the private sector to get involved with helping small, medium businesses. We've seen the public sector and governments get involved, help with programs such as PPP in the US and C-bills in the UK and other parts of the world, government programs. But they really haven't helped the situation, especially because they financed companies based on their expenses. And as you know, the pre-COVID economic growth was happening, the economy was growing. As COVID hit, the economy suffered and government stepped in, but they really looked at expenses from, let's say, 2019 and started to fund companies based on that. And yet, as the recovery starts, there's a large amount of companies that have run out of money or about to run out of money from these government programs. And what we see is receivable finance, and I'll walk you through how that works, basically can help align recovery properly based on economic growth. So if you have invoices or orders from customers, you can actually start to get money aligned with those. So you can buy raw materials, you can hire workers, you can buy the capital equipment you need, and it aligns to the actual economic growth versus looking at just your past expenses. And that's why we're saying the time is now for a new type of funding to happen. And the solution Crowdz has put together really is called the Reclaim the Future project. And our mission for that project is really to help in economic opportunities for small businesses in particular to accelerate their cash flow. Our solution is what we call a global exchange for receivables that allows you to sell your invoices into an exchange for funders to quote those, and in return, you get cash. This helps companies survive during the crisis, create jobs, et cetera, but really to thrive and to grow far into the future. Let me walk through the overall problem that we see in the market today. Really what's missing is a real-time capital market for global receivables. And if you look at what's happened in the past, there are programs called supply chain finance programs that allows for a funder like Citi to go to an enterprise, be a grocery store. They turn around to their suppliers, the bread supplier, the apple supplier, and say, hey, if you have invoices that you're supplying to me, I'll buy those invoices, but at a discount. That's currently how a lot of programs work. It's called an early payment program. And in a lot of cases, the seller has to lower their costs in order to get their money faster. What happens is a lot of times sellers don't want to do that, either because they don't want to lower their cost, or they basically can't sell all their invoices into that because they have invoices from other customers. And so what happens is they are forced to go to other types of instruments to raise money, mezz type instruments, letters of credits, or they go to factoring companies that can charge up to 20 to 30% APR, which is just really cost prohibitive. What Crowdz has done is we've created a marketplace where you can sell your invoice into the marketplace overall. It has a risk score and a payment score, but this can also be white labeled, what we call supply chain finance as a service, where an enterprise can take this program and launch this into their supply chain and be able to buy the invoices of their suppliers or their merchants, other customers, to help improve their cash flow. What can also happen is banks can syndicate into this market, factoring companies can source from this market, and like I mentioned, enterprises, asset funds, or corporate treasuries can actually buy invoices in this market, really creating a whole new capital market. The platform that we have, we call Supply Chain Finance as a Service. It can be white labeled to any company. It allows that company to buy, and it allows you to buy your suppliers or your merchants' invoices from any of their customers. It's not an early payment program. It's really a way to help improve the cash flow of your suppliers and your merchants. It also has an option to syndicate those invoices to other funders if you don't buy them, or let's say you're just helping them to get additional cash. And what we have built on top of this is called the invoice exchange. It includes an invoice insurance wrapper to protect investments. And there's a common and universal SURF score, which stands for Sustainability, Risk, and Financial, which allows enterprises and funders to look at the risk of the companies and their customers to decide how much those invoices can be funded. But it also gives the small, medium business access to capital, because we're looking at how they're performing, not just how much revenue they have, but how they perform as a company, how they pay back invoices on time, how they do other elements like that. So how does it work? So you upload or create a receivable. So you upload it through an API. You can utilize EDI. You can integrate your accounting system, such as QuickBooks. You can do it through a PDF, a spreadsheet. You upload it into a marketplace. And in that marketplace is basically the ability to sell it for auction or a direct sale. You have funders bid. And basically, we track how the payment of the seller and the funders are happening. Those all feed an overall SURF score, Sustainability, Risk, and Financial score. And there's other elements such as loan information, other elements that go into that score. And then money can move in any way you want it to move in from funders and out into your bank accounts to really get cash to you quickly and cash to your suppliers and merchants quickly to improve their cash flow. The SURF score looks at several elements, including supplier health, days payable outstanding, days sales outstanding, how the seller delivery is working, and also reputation risk and the ESG elements. If a SURF score improves over time for an SMB and SME, it really allows them to get access to lower costs of capital. Ultimately, for Crowdz, what we're doing is we're building a data set that allows for an enterprise to really map their supply chain, their market segment, their industry, their fund, or a government to even track their country on how things are performing in real time across the chain. Here you see a raw material chain that goes to a finished goods chain, and you can see where the actual risk is overall. This is based on the invoice data. It allows for it to change in real time and allow you to map a supply chain or a fund or an industry in real time. It predicts where the macro micro conditions are changing, and it really allows you to see what's going on overall. A big element of the SURF score is ESG, and our SURF score stands for Sustainability, Risk, and Financial score. It allows for us to work with SMBs and small, medium businesses and SMEs, small, medium enterprises, to make environmental, social, and governance commitments around carbon, ethical supply chains, and how they're treating their vendors and customers. It also enables companies to what we call pay it forward, where they can buy receivables of their supply chains or customers, or let's say do things like buy carbon credits. So what's in it for the channel partner, the enterprise that works with this Reclaim the Future project? Really, by supporting the Reclaim the Future project, it helps your SMBs and SMEs and merchants thrive by accelerating cash flow. It allows you to achieve returns by investing in receivables. That's a more sustainable way to help them. it's not just giving out a loan or a grant. It really is a way to give companies money and then receive a return back, and you can then reinvest that money into other suppliers or merchants. It limits the risk in the supply chain and value chain, and it provides a network of funders to support suppliers and their merchant base. We are creating a movement overall, and this gives an opportunity for enterprises and funders around the world to join like-minded companies. Really, joining this movement helps build awareness of the initiative, enables a multiplier effect, but it allows you to start to fund your suppliers and merchant invoices from any customer, really enabling them to survive and thrive and access cash they would not normally get access to. What are the measurements of success for this program? In the next 12 months, we're looking to deploy 1,000 companies who could deploy $1 million of funding each. And over 5 years, we're looking at deploying and bringing on 11 million companies to pay it forward, which is basically to buy invoices from your supply chain or from your customers, really to help them survive and thrive. We've been talking with several different companies who are interested. We've launched with several others who are not even on this. And the purpose is really to help Main Street thrive and reclaim the future. And do it in a way that really, if you look at our higher purpose on why we're doing this, it's really to help the families and communities around the world that depend on small, medium businesses. A lot of small, medium businesses around the world have been underserved by mainstream finance. They can't get access to lots of credit and other elements to help their business. In some cases, they can't get access to much at all. And this helps them really be able to fund the headcount they need, the raw materials they need, and buy the capital equipment they need to fulfill orders that they already have. Participation in this will create a sustainable financial engine for small, medium businesses around the world that helps and supports what governments have already done, but becomes a sustainable way to give back to the community. And it also provides a foundation for suppliers and merchants to support environmental and ethical supply chains. Really, at Crowdz, it's important for us to think about how we're helping overall the communities, and we're aligning ourselves with the UN sustainability goals. You can see the goals we support in yellow, and those are the ones that we're really working with enterprises and funders, large and small, to help create this sustainable way to help companies survive and thrive. The team is very experienced, the Crowdz team, and we have a mixture of fintech, banking, and supply chain, plus data companies. You can see a mixture of everything from Cisco to SAP to Standard Chartered to Intact to Funding Circle or Instacart. And we're here to help. Really, this program is to work with enterprises and banks to help their suppliers survive and thrive. The small, medium businesses, the merchants you work with, really to help Main Street, or in the UK, referred to High Street, thrive by reclaiming the future. We look forward to having you work with us and join the Reclaim the Future project. Thanks for your time today.